Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Welcome to the Sun property podcast, in conjunction, of course, with Welcome Estates and the lovely Lisa and Colin, who are right there. I'm Aki, and today we're going to be continuing our podcast. Firstly, guys, great to see you. Sorry, Lisa, we couldn't have you on the last podcast. Obviously, you had some sad news in the family, but I believe you've been away for a couple of weeks with your extended family, and you're back to somewhat of normality now.
Getting there, yeah. Well, it's September now, so we're starting to get busy. So August, we've been in and out really. So I wasn't on the last podcast. We was in Formentera last weekend for a few days, which was really nice.
Yeah, and Col, you've been sort of, at the helm of the ship in the last couple of weeks, plugging away, and I believe the market's hot at the minute, literally.
Well, it's the weather's thankfully cooling down a little bit, but the property market isn't. So as Lisa just alluded to, typically September, October, November, even into December, are mad busy times for people coming to Spain to buy. So yes, it's warming up.
July and August have been quite good though.
Yeah,
they have. Yeah. I'm because of circumstances, I've spent a lot of time in the UK, July and August. I was loving the UK weather. I've got to be honest. I was loving. I'm speaking to them and I'm seeing the team WhatsApp and they're like, "Yay, we survived another day at 42." As I was putting my raincoat on to go outside in the UK, because it has been hot, but it's not been quiet. July and August. I think you've had a good steady couple of months. Yeah. But then since we're only on the 4th of September and it's just gone boom.
Are you seeing a change in tourist patterns where they're actually avoiding the really, really hot couple of weeks, or are they still coming into the really, really hot couple of weeks? Because I know I'd be avoiding it slightly. I'd be coming slightly cooler.
There's a difference between tourists and people who have a second home here. Tourists come in on holiday for 2 weeks and they want to sit on the beach at peak time, bake, sangria. What I've done for a couple of weeks in August, if I'm being completely honest. And so from that point of view, July and August, Lathinka itself has been really, really busy over July and August. But people who own a home over here and they're spending more half and half, they avoid they avoid it for lots of reasons, not just the weather, but the mass numbers and sheer numbers of people and tourists about it. If it's more of a residence and a holiday, would you agree? They probably would avoid July and August.
I think it depends how old people are as well. People who haven't got kids who are obviously tied to school holidays would tend to avoid the peak times anyway and come out at their own leisure when it isn't.
For flight prices as well. Flight prices over July and August, it could cost me over €1,000 to get my family back and forth to the UK, where I've just looked at flights in September and the 50, 60 euros again.
Great.
I think you just hit the Ryanair shortlist for the passenger of the year as well.
The air miles I must have over the past 12 months is unbelievable.
That's true. That's why we always get special treatment when we're on the plane. Get an extra mushroom in our sandwich.
I'm not sure what extra treatment Ryanair could give you, to be honest. But
we're going to get into loads of new topics today. I know there's a big one which you guys want to talk about a bit later on, which is to do with the new rental law in Spain. Now, that's huge news that's coming out. We're going to talk about. Obviously, we're going to answer the viewers' questions, which again we've got loads of more viewers' questions. Some myth busting, some properties of the week, some upcoming exhibitions. There's loads going on. So guys, before we even do that, you know what you need to do. You need to like, please, and you need to follow the YouTube channel, follow the platforms, and there's all the links at the top there. You can book a viewing trip with Welcome Estates, and there's a link to the website at the top there and all the details. We're going to kick off with one of my favorite sections, actually, which is property of the week. And this one is super special. It's a country retreat with stables in Torremendo. And I believe, guys, you're going to give us the verdict on this property.
Well, before we say anything, I think this was the one in the group chat, Aki, where basically you and Chris just wanted to buy it and move in.
Chris wanted to buy it. And when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I can see why, actually. So I think we're waiting for Chris to put a bid in.
This is quite different, because the condition of this property is absolutely immaculate, which sometimes with country properties isn't always the case. So this is set on an enormous plot of 11,000 square meters. So
you need a gardener.
Yeah, well, or you need to live there permanently. It's got stables. I think it's got stables for 3 or 4 horses. Modern kitchen, outdoor kitchen. The grounds are absolutely amazing. It's 4-bed, 2-bath. Absolutely nothing to do to it. The guy who bought it a few years ago spent an absolute fortune on it, doing it to a really high standard.
Yeah,
and it comes for the princely sum of €575,000.
I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, that might sound like a lot of money, but it's over 10,000 square meters, I believe, of land. Yeah. I believe that's right. 4 beds, 2 baths. It's got fantastic facilities. I mean, would you say for the money that is, because it looks like a really good, price? What would you guys say?
It's interesting because we get a good number of inquiries for people who want properties with stables attached to them. You wouldn't believe the amount, and it's actually the Dutch and Belgians who tend to inquire about properties like that, to bring the horses over from Holland, etc. So yeah, it's the thing is with it, as we've said, there's nothing needs doing to this property, which you can't always say of fincas or country properties. There's quite a lot of country properties that you can buy, which will need a lot of work over time and potentially a lot of money spent on them as well. This one's just ready to go.
This property, to me, I look at it and think, wow, it's amazing. It's which is unusual in the areas that we deal with. It's a proper family home. It's got the space to live and permanently reside in Spain. What it's not is a holiday home.
Nope.
It is not a holiday home. And we always have these conversations with clients, don't we, about the property is beautiful and the price is for that square footage of property and how much space you get in. On La Finca, for example, you would get a 130 meter square villa with a plot of maximum 400, 450 for that price.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So in those terms, it's very good value for the space
for square footage. But there's a reason why, and it's because of the location. So it all depends on what your need is and what the living needs are for you. So are you going there to go to the beach every day? You're going there on holiday? You're going there to walk to bars and restaurants? Or what there's a big need for people is people actually would prefer to have that privacy, not be in the middle of the thick of it, and have those stunning views and surroundings. But that is not in Villa Martin. That is not on La Finca. And I think we get so many inquiries on properties like this because they go, oh, wow, look at the size of that property for that price. But it's understanding what type of living that will be. It is different to be.
It's not a lock up and leave holiday home, is it? But far from it.
No.
And presumably you're further away from the amenities and stuff. But this is for someone who wants to live a nice, peaceful, tranquil existence just there, basically. Would that be right?
My husband would move into that house tomorrow.
He loves it.
Chris would move into that today.
He'd move it in tomorrow. And at the end of the day, we're all different. I go, yeah, but Carl, it'll take me 3 hours to walk to the bar. It's not happening.
I'm the same as you, Lisa. I'd be like, how far is that from the corner flag?
Yeah. So I'm like, it's way too far from the corner flag for me, that, darling. Unless you want to be my chauffeur. Because to me, Spain has become, I had a house like that in the UK. Do you mean the house was big and it was big for a family, where I actually live in a lot smaller house now because I've chose location over property.
It's one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah, and location to me has changed my life. And I'm not an alcoholic, but having having that lifestyle and being able to walk out into the sun and walk down and have a sparkling water at the corner flag or at a bar or a restaurant is what I enjoy about living in Spain. But lots of people would want this instead. What would you? I'd
probably be a bit of a halfway house, living in the, and don't get me wrong, this isn't in the middle of nowhere. This is relatively, this is within a 10-minute drive of local towns and everything.
Spanish towns.
Yeah. So it's not a country property where you're in, in the boonies up in the hills where, it's very remote. It isn't. It's not that. But I'm not a city boy, but I'm not a country bumpkin either. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. If I could have that house, I'm your worst nightmare. Colin,
you're not going to tell
can
me
you get me that
that.
house on the thinker, please, for that
I
price?
can get you on the beach. It just costs you 10 million.
Yeah, but for the right family or that is an absolutely stunning property. And like Colin said, he doesn't need money spending on it. It doesn't need that investment. It is ready to go. It's not in the middle of nowhere. And if you want more of the quaint Spanish life and into a Spanish village, which many people want, and we hear it every day, that property is absolutely beautiful.
Well, guys, if that is your dream property, you know what you need to do. You need to get in touch with Welcome Estates. You need to visit www.welcome-estates.com, get in touch with the team and book a viewing trip. It's simple as that. Fantastic property, that. So let's move on and look at some viewers' questions. We do get some really good questions coming in all the time. And this one comes in from Paul O'Connor. Is it better to buy a new build or a resale in Spain?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
I suppose firstly it depends on your taste. It's good. It depends on what you like from I think over the last couple of years we're seeing a lot more nearly new as resales. So you can get a new build as a resale if that makes sense to you. So for example, we've just literally had one on the market on the Thinker for 3 days. How old was it?
4 years.
4 years old, sold within 3 days because it's the style, it's a modern living, it's the open plan living, it's white lines, it's what people want from a new build, but it was ready and only 4 years old, and it literally come up and gone. So it depends if you like traditional or new. That's the first question. What's your taste? What would you say from a financial point of view?
Yeah, I would say, again, a lot of it's going to be designed towards your budget as well. So, more traditional Spanish properties tend to be a little bit cheaper because building materials were cheaper, the land was cheaper, 20 years ago. So you will pay a premium for a new build. So I think the two major things to consider is, what is your taste? Is it your dream to have, the Spanish arches and the traditional Spanish? Then probably new build isn't for you. And obviously, what is your budget as well? Because new builds tend to be that bit more expensive. The other thing to throw into the mix as well, this shouldn't make the decision, but it should be a consideration within the decision. There's the new energy performance regulations coming in by the EU. This is nothing to do with Spain. This is an EU law, which by 2030, property out here has to be categorized as an E, and by 2033 it has to be categorized as a D. Now, what you're probably gonna have to take into account, this shouldn't change your mind in any way, but you just need to be aware of it. If you're gonna buy something that's 10, 15 years old now, the chances are it might not conform to the D regulations in 2033. So maybe expect to do some retrofit things like solar panels and aerothermic boilers to bring that energy rating up. So if you're buying an older property, the chances are you might have to spend some money in a few years' time to bring it up to code to meet the EU regulations. Anything with a new build that's built now are all virtually A rated, so you'll have no problems whatsoever. So when you weigh those up, it's your choice. We
have the same in England. We have a similar, I think it's a C in England. It's pretty standard, but interesting. Okay, so the jury is what you like, essentially.
It is.
Yeah. I would say that we're seeing a massive increase on new build sales.
Huge.
Massive increase on new build sales. So I think people's taste may go there a little bit more. The areas that they're in tend to be in the prime locations. And is the EPC influencing people? Probably a little bit. I think it is.
It is a lot of the other nationalities because they're very aware of it.
Yeah, I think that is influencing people. But we're definitely seeing a big a big increase in the new build sales here at Welcome,
because it's trouble free for they come with all the guarantees, and you can come here and drop your bags and it'll give you no troubles for a decade.
Well, I think the resale properties, at the end of the day, people have used them as holiday homes, maybe for 10 years. People, I think I've mentioned it before, people don't invest and keep up with things the same when it's a holiday home. They don't get the latest gadgets or refresh the kitchen every so many years and bathrooms, because they're only using it for so many weeks a year. So most people come in and think, well, I want that, but I want a new bathroom, I want a new kitchen, I want this, I want that. So when we actually sit down and look at the pricing, you think, okay, you're going to spend that, and then you're going to do that in another country, getting builders and things like that. At the end of it, you could have had that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, we should feature the EPC stuff in the next episode. I think that's quite an interesting one.
Great question, though. Good question.
Very good question. Let's move on to the next one, which is from Adele Forrest. So, do I apply for a mortgage in Spain or the UK if buying in Spain?
Either. You can do it either way. So start off in the UK, and the first thing to say before I say anything else, mortgages all of a sudden have become like hot topic over here, because going back 2 years ago, we barely ever sold a property that had a mortgage attached to it. The amount of people now who are taking mortgages out to buy in Spain has absolutely gone through the roof. And that's only down to one reason, because the prices have gone up.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to do it. You can either, if you've already got a property in the UK that's sat with some nice equity in it, you can speak to your current mortgage provider and see if you can increase the terms on that. The benefit you've got in the UK is you'll get more of the loan, you'll get more of the value out of the property, because the loan to value is quite low in the UK. You can borrow more out of that asset. The downside of the UK is the interest rates are more expensive.
Yes, but they are coming down. They are coming down, I believe.
Yeah. So the UK is linked to LIBOR, the euro, Spain is linked to the Eurobor, which has traditionally always been lower. If you apply for a mortgage in Spain, it's a bit more.
Guys, I've lost sound. Oh, we're back.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, do that bit again, please. Yeah, because I lost sound there. Yeah.
From the top.
You
want to ask the question again, or do you just want me to, as if you've asked the question?
Yeah, I think just carry it on, because then it'll all just be a little nice, little neat little cut.
Do you just want me to continue from where I've gone?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're applying for a mortgage in Spain, the loan to value is low. You'll need around 30% as a deposit, plus your buying costs. So we roughly estimate you'll need between 40 and 50%. But the interest rate's lower. The good thing to do is, if you speak to a mortgage broker here, there's a number of the mortgage brokers, and the ones that we deal with, they're regulated to give you mortgage advice both in the UK and in Spain. So whatever's best for you, they can do for you. But have a chat with the broker.
We see most of the time, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, most of the time, if you're getting funds from the UK, it's normally buy your business or equity release. Most, I would say, mortgages that people get out tend to be in Spain.
Yes. Well, funnily enough, we've had two sales over the last week. One person was taking equity from their property in the UK, and the person yesterday who purchased on La Finca is taking a Spanish mortgage.
Yeah. So it does tend to be, I think at the end of the day, it is property in Spain, and the Spanish, I'm probably more equipped to deal with that and to get the mortgage on the property and get the systems in place and the checks and a little bit of a different process, how we go to the notary. It's a little bit more old school in Spain. So obviously the Spanish banks are used to how transactions with properties work.
Yeah. Okay. Good question from Adele there. Next one from Alan Bennett is, how do I apply for jobs in Spain? I want to move there, but would still need to work. I'm a builder.
Okay.
Goes back to visas and how you're moving over and where you're moving from. I suppose it's a question that without a little bit more background, we can only generalise. If you're coming from the UK and you've got a UK passport, then we'll need some form of visa, and depending on what form of visa you come over, then you can work or not. If you're coming from, got an Irish passport, say, or any sort of European passport, then it's easy. You can come over. You can retain the right to work. Yeah. So it does depend on.
There have actually been some recent changes. So there's something relatively new called the job seekers visa. Uh-huh. So previously, and I'm talking specifically UK now, obviously post Brexit. So basically, if you were in the UK and you wanted to work in Spain, you would basically have to have a job offer before then applying for a visa to come and live in Spain, which is a little bit chicken and egg, isn't it? Because how do you get a job offer from somebody in Spain when you're not living there? You can imagine how difficult that would be. Now, the rules have changed. Now, there's a number of things that you need to bear in mind, but it's to try and solve trades that are required over here. So actually a builder might be quite a good one, because when you see the amount of cranes here, you wouldn't believe it. Basically, it's a visa which gives you a 1-year visa to come and live in Spain to allow you specifically to look for work. Right. So you can do that now. There are certain things. You have to have so much money in the bank to be able to support yourself financially. You can't have a criminal record, etc., etc. But again, with everything, take advice from an immigration lawyer. But this is relatively new and it's available now. It wasn't available last year.
But there's always need for a good English-speaking builder in Spain. Oh, it's hard to get. The wait is. Carl does. Carl does renovations within the Welcome company, and he literally is booked up continuously.
Solid.
Yeah.
Is he on Christmas this year?
Yeah.
Depending if I need him in the kitchen or not.
All right, interesting question there from Alan Bennett as well. They've all been good questions so far. Let's keep them rolling. What's the next one? So I want to apply for a Nomad visa. This is something we've discussed before on the show, and spend my time in Spain. What is my first steps?
Speak to an immigration lawyer.
Yeah.
Speak to somebody like you've seen Alex come on the show a few times. That's their bread and butter. They do that every single day. They will be able to tell you quite quickly if they feel that you meet the criteria. The Nomad visa is becoming more and more. People are using it more and more, and it's becoming more successful. But there is a criteria for it about. For what reason you can't just come to Spain and get a job with me at Welcome and work at home, and that's remote working, so you can have a Nomad visa. You have to be employed from a company outside of Spain. Your income cannot depend on Spain. So it's looking at that really.
Yeah, it's based on your income. If you work for another company as well, part of the criteria is you have to have written permission from that company to do that. If you've got your own limited company, for example, of course you would give yourself that permission. But as with all of this, there's always massive complexity to these things if you don't know.
And every visa is the same. So this one you've got to prove, and you have to have permission when it comes to your working. But then what are you earning? Do you meet the criteria? You'd need to have a criminal record check as well. Yep. You need private insurance, or I've just been through the Nomad, or there is different ways, because you're still working from England. You can actually apply for a A1, I believe it's called, because obviously you're still paying your national insurance, so you may be eligible for healthcare in that way. But again, the best people to speak to are the lawyers, and they will tell you quite quickly if you're eligible or not.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for that from Manny. And then the last one we've got on this particular section is from Davis Priestnell. What are the costs of running a car in Spain compared to the UK?
I don't know anything about cars.
well, to be honest, we haven't lived in UK for so many years. I couldn't tell you. I do know one thing for sure, that petrol is slightly cheaper here. Car insurance is, I would say, moderately less expensive here. The one thing that people do comment on here is that cars tend to be more expensive here, and they wouldn't be wrong.
second-hand cars. Carl say you can't. I'm about to get Carl.
The difference is though, Aki, is cars here hold the value massively. Because people run cars in Spain for much longer because you don't have the cold weather here that breaks engines eventually. So it's not unusual here to see a car of 15 years old running on the road perfectly.
Do you not think I was talking about this even when we was away last week. We were on that beautiful island, and there doesn't seem to be the same need or desire to have really expensive cars in Spain. It's not like in England.
I've noticed that. Yeah, I've noticed that.
It's not like in England where it's like, what's the saying? Keeping up with the Joneses. Is that the right one? Where it's, well, my friend's got this and I want to get that. And I think it's because most people who are here, and this is me we had this conversation, this is me just guessing at the reason why, is because most people, by the time they come to Spain, they're normally in a time of life where they may have done that or already bought that.
I think so.
This time of life is more about actually enjoy the sunshine and
not being bothered about what.
Yeah, because it just doesn't. I don't feel like I need to drive around in a certain car. I don't feel like I even look at anybody's car.
Did you?
I've noticed the exact same thing. The exact same thing.
Get rid of the Bentayga.
I don't know what a Bentayga is. What's a Bentayga?
Yeah, it's a nice little car, but like the car that I drive around when I come is your mum's old car. The little I call it the pea shooter. I love it. I love driving around with that. With no air conditioning. It's great. It's great fun.
The air conditioning's fixed now.
Oh, is it fixed? Oh my gosh.
Now, yeah, the air conditioning. Yeah. No, but like we're working for a company and Colin has a company car and a lot of people lease cars through the bank. Even people who move over here do that as well. They're not massively expensive, I wouldn't say, really, compared to the but anything that you can do in the UK, you can finance cars, you can lease cars, you can go and buy second-hand cars, you can buy brand new cars. But I think the value of cars is higher, like Colin said, but the running of a car is not. Would you know offhand what you pay for your insurance each year?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like I've got like 21 years no claim, so it does come down. I pay about 80 quid a month, which for a BMW is quite good.
Yeah,
but my wife pays a little bit more, and she's got an older car, so it's weird how it works.
We pay just under €500 a year for like an SUV.
Yeah. That's about
so insurance is cheaper. Yeah. One interesting point though about the insurance and driving in Spain, which it's worth covering. The insurance is totally different over here. It's actually the car that's insured. So when you say, you drive Gary's car, it's because anybody can get in that car who's got a driving license and drive it and be fully comprehensive insured. So it's not the individual is insured, it's the car.
Yeah. And I forget that when I go back to the UK, because it's like my dad's had to put, because I've been there so much, my dad's actually put me on as a named driver on his car. Where like Carl goes over and I have to drive. It's awful.
It's more hassle, doing it here. But over in Spain, very easy.
Yeah. So I think in summary, I think overall the running cost for a car over here will be less.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that was some good questions there. Really good questions, which brings us on to another like a stalwart of the show, and it's Mythbusters. It's a stalwart, this one. I like this. So here's the first myth or fact. It is just far too hot to live in Spain full time if you're not used to it.
True.
Kind of touched on this at the beginning, didn't we?
I had this debate with my family in Benidorm, right? So they came over and we spent some time there, and they're all baking at the side of the pool. And I'm just like, this is too much. I'm too hot. I just go. And they're all going, Lucy, you've lived in Spain for 6 years. How are you not used to it? Because I avoid it.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you live here. You do not. You do not live out you go out, you like hibernate. You're inside with the aircon or in the car with the aircon. And then you might come out in the evenings when it starts cooling down a bit. But July and August is hot. And everybody moans all of July and all of August. And then we forget because September's beautiful all the way up until then we all start moaning a little bit in January because it's gone really cold and we forgot how cold it can get for such a short period of time.
12 degrees.
Yeah, it's so cold and the toilet seat's freezing for a couple of weeks.
That's a summer's day, yeah, really.
Yeah. And then, but we have some. But every year it's hotter this year. It isn't. It just feels. It's so intense for that 8 weeks. And
it is, and you're right. The way you deal with it is to stay out of it. When you live here, you stay out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually downloaded. Don't ask me why I did this, but some climatology research of the last 1,000 years of the globe, and temperatures actually, the summer peaks are exactly the same as they have been for about 1,000 years. Yeah. So, but I think what it is that this particular summer that you got up to 42, didn't you? A couple of days. Yeah.
We do. I would say end of July, August as a rule. Yeah. It's not unusual. I remember last year it being high 40s at one point.
The most common temperature here, you'll get the odd day that's 42, 43.
What is it today?
It's the most common temperature, I think, in July and August, 35, 36.
Yeah. And I don't. We're down. See, it's 33 today, so it's still hot today.
That's still hot.
This is still me. I would rather sit inside and. I was about to say iron, but that's not going to happen. I'd rather sit inside of a cup of tea and my aircon on than be outside in the day at the minute. Give it what we're moving on to. So as of next week, we're back into the 20s, and that is brilliant.
High 20s.
That's perfect.
And September, October, I like it between 25 and around the 25.
Anything over 25
is beautiful. And we've got to remember is that okay, the summer is a small period. There's so many months where the weather is. It changes your life over here.
All right, cool. Thank you for busting that myth, or at least discussing that myth. It's not too hot. Just hide away from the sun. It's not too hot.
Well, it is hot, but you just deal with it because
you
get so many more benefits for the rest of the year. I wouldn't not do it for a summer. And we try and take more holidays, don't we? Because we're quieter at work in July and August, and we just do what we can to get through the couple of months, and then we're back into September now. It's done.
And if you've got solar panels, your quid's in. The next one, the Spanish appreciate you trying to speak the language.
Not sure about me. Maybe Colin.
You've never tried, have you? Yes, they do. Yeah. And they wouldn't ever poke fun at you. Is somebody who moves out here in the 50s or 60s or 70s ever going to be able to speak fluently? Probably not. But attempting to speak the language and having a few phrases, yes, they do appreciate it. Yeah. The interesting thing here, though, is as we've said on many occasions, the international language here is English. Yeah. And you speak in Spanish to them, and then they talk back to you in English.
Because they want to learn English as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. You're trying to practice, but they want to practice their English as well. So, but yeah, they do appreciate it. And at the end of the day, we say lots and lots of times, we're in Spain, and Spanish is a language. And we should be trying to, as much as we can, speak a little bit of words. I've got a few more over the summer. Hola.
We'll do a test on the next podcast.
Good idea.
All right, and then the
Spanish test is part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, that'll be good actually. That'll be really interesting.
Oh no, please don't embarrass me like that.
The last one we've got here on the myth or fact is the cost of living is cheaper in Spain compared to the UK, but not seeing some things like cars. Well, cars we've discovered, but let's talk about tradesmen then.
Yeah.
So we've talked a couple of times about the cost of living being slightly lower, but what is it like for tradesmen?
I would say tradesmen. I would say the materials are probably on par with anywhere else because it's a global market. The difference here is the cost of labour. I would say is far less expensive than the UK. And that's just governed by the minimum wage here.
It's really hard for us, some of the questions, because we're not going to just sit here and make it up and lie and go, oh yeah, it's so much cheaper in Spain. I've not used a tradesman in the UK for 7 years, so I don't know the answer to that. But from what we know, materials all over Europe and the UK, they all peaked, didn't they? Yeah. 18 months, 2 years ago, which has took the costs up for everybody, just like petrol and interest rates and things have gone up across the world. But labour is cheaper, and that's a fact. We know that the hourly rate here is a lot cheaper, so that must itself bring the cost down. And I can say I've spent so much time in the UK recently, and I cannot believe how much things were over the last couple of months in the UK. Granted, we wasn't living properly, and that's the one thing that I would say. You don't eat out every night, do you, Aki, with the children?
Not every night, but we tend to do it a fair bit because they actually do some good deals in the summer. But yeah, you're right. It's not every night by any stretches.
We was in a situation where we was taking day by day, so we might have nipped out to Marks and Spencer's and got some food, or we might have ordered a takeaway, whatever. But the cost to me was like, wow, that was so expensive. That
it is
4 or 5 weeks that I spent in the UK was really expensive. I always laugh as well, though, but it's because things like Starbucks and Costa, they're so easily there, and you just, if I looked at how much I've spent in there.
Fish and chips last night we had. 2 tiny little kids, me and Jen, fish and chips, 40 quid. Yeah. That's what it was.
Do you remember when you used to go on a Friday and you could feed a family with like £10?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Those days are gone. Oh, we sound old now, don't we, saying stuff like that?
Yeah. but I definitely think the UK is more expensive, but I haven't got the comparison. Asked me 5 years ago, and I could have, but I don't pay electric in the UK anymore. I don't pay gas. I don't have.
We know people who do, though.
Shopping bills, and I think that from what we can work out, there is definitely a massive difference, and it's all to do with labour and wage prices, and that's the thing over here. People, I find it interesting because people don't want to pay more on the cost of living, but would like to earn more money, and it sort of like goes hand in hand with each other. If you earn less and it costs you less, that's great.
Yeah.
So at the minute that the wages are low, so if you come over and try and earn in Spain, you cannot earn UK prices and have Spain's cost of living at the same time.
Yeah.
Unless you're a digital.
Unless
you're a digital nomad.
Yeah, unless you're a digital nomad, and then you've got the best of both worlds.
You've got the best of both worlds, exactly. Yeah.
You can earn outside of Spain, win-win.
Yeah, cool. All right, good topics discussed there. I'm sure that answers everybody's myths, questions, etc. And now this brings us on to the crux of the issue, which is something you really wanted to discuss, which I believe is big news going on in Spain. So this is to do with the 2025 update for new rental laws in Spain. And I'm going to leave it over to you guys because you're going to tell us about this. So tell us about what's changed and what the impact might be.
I'll let Colin go into the changes, but just to remind people, this was big news at the beginning of 2025. It really did actually rock people's confidence in buying in Spain, and it changed the market for a little bit, only a little bit. It was a very short-term thing, but it still comes up at every show that we go to, and lots of people talk about it. We had one news flash where it was announced that in this, a bit like when in the UK they do the budget and they do the plan for next year, they have lots of different plans to try and tackle their housing issues over here in Spain. Out of 10 points, one of the points said non-European buyers will be charged 100% tax on their properties. And there was no definite to what that really meant.
It's such a bizarre thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah,
without quantifying.
Such a strong, but to the extent where was it an extra £100? No, was it an extra £250,000 on that? It was so, but there's been no more real information or no more, apart from people saying it's never going to happen, until something happened only last week, which Colin will tell you more about it, which shows you actually how unrealistic that whole thing was.
Yeah. So for some time now, Aki, and obviously this impacts Brits and Americans, because it was actually an American person who challenged the law. If you rent a property out in Spain as a holiday let, if you're a European, so if you're, say, from Holland and you rent a property out, your tax rate is 19%, but you can also offset any of your costs. So your typical costs would be cleaning, marketing, property management in general. So you'd have a tax rate of 19% and you can offset all of your costs against your profit.
Maintenance, the usual thing.
As somebody from the UK, if you were then renting a property out, your tax rate post-Brexit was 24%, and you couldn't offset any of your costs. Which basically meant the tax rate was technically much higher than 20%.
Way higher. Yeah.
Because you had nothing to offset against your gross profit.
It's like 30% plus.
Way plus, I would say more than 40, given the things that you would pay out. And there was actually an American person who challenged this through the courts. It went to the Spanish Tribunal Court, and they won. And basically what they've now said is that is illegal. It's against EU. It's against an
Human
EU
rights,
directive where, you know, it's classed as being discriminatory, and therefore they've immediately given anybody from the non-EU the right now to reclaim your costs. We don't know if this will go back retrospectively. You know, the devil's always in the detail with this. For now, the tax rate has stayed at 24%. It hasn't been adjusted, but there's a feeling that it will be to bring everything back on parity. Now then, why is this important for the January statement of this 100% tax? And when you speak to anybody who knows what they're talking about, who I simply do not classify myself in that arena, I'm talking about qualified legal people like lawyers, they will always come back to would be seen to be discriminatory from the EU, and it would be laughed out of court. And this is exactly what's happened here. Yeah. So there's now two clear examples of discriminatory behaviour from the Spanish tax authorities, which the first one was some years ago where a family was inheriting a Spanish estate. One of the family was in Spain, the other one was in South America somewhere, and the Spanish government tried to tax the person in South America a higher rate. That was deemed to be illegal and discriminatory. And now the second test case, which is on the rental front, which is again deemed to be discriminatory, and it will be brought back to parity. And that is likely exactly what would happen with this 100% rule if it ever got that far. So in itself, it's not directly linked to the 100% rule, but another firm indication of you just can't do these things and get away with it.
Yeah, wow, that's good news then. That's very good news. So hopefully that should restore a bit more faith back to people who were concerned about it.
Well, it's a step in the right direction. It's as clear as that. With regards to renting properties out, you know, it is the message is clear. It still is going to be harder to do that. And the advice for anybody who, you know, wants to buy something to specifically rent out is you must check with your lawyer that if you're buying somewhere that there isn't any bans in place to actually grant tourist licenses. So, you know, it may be more important and critical to do that, because once you've bought it, it's too late, of course, if you can't get a license.
Yeah. Okay. So that's big news then, really, isn't it? It's big news. And how have people sort of taken to that? Was it? I mean, you've mentioned there it kind of was expected in a way.
Yeah. I think with our because we've been open and upfront and honest with people, and we've spoken to solicitors when they're purchasing. I think we had a couple of clients who had a little bit of a completely justified wobble because it came out at the time when they was literally partying with money. There was no detail and whatever, and those people had a little bit of a shaky period, but they've gone on to buy, and we're in September now, and they're in that house and absolutely loving life in Spain. But but other than that, I don't feel that anybody who we was in contact has not bought because of that. We've just had to have lots of conversations and reassurance and speaking to the right people. But I think that this news, has it brought it back up again, or would you say, I don't think it's, but I think it's just reaffirmed what we've been saying, really.
Yeah, you know, the two aren't directly linked. We have to say that. And, you know, unless you do want to rent it out, or indeed already rent a property out, it would be kind of irrelevant here in many respects, because it's kind of news which is relevant to some and not to others.
I think more than that, I think the biggest thing and the issue that we have is tourist licenses and people who want to actually short-term let the properties, because that is the one that, and it's not going away, and a lot of that is to try and help with the housing crisis, but getting a tourist license in any area is very, very difficult. It is. And when you buy a property, like Colin's just said, even if it had a tourist license, they've now changed it, so you have to reapply for a tourist license.
And
so there
lasts 5 years as well.
And there's no guarantee, and we can't give that guarantee. We can't. We don't know if you'll get it. If I was to be honest, I would say you're probably highly likely not to at this moment in time with most properties. Long-term rent is a great investment if that's what you want to do. You got to buy a property to invest. The reason why people want short-term rent is because in some ways, like we all do, you want the best of both worlds. You want your base in Spain for when you want it, but then somebody else pay the costs of that through renting for the rest of the year. And I get why people think, well, what a great concept that is, but it's just not that simple to do.
What you need to do is go and buy one of those properties we had on the last podcast that Colin talked to us about.
Well, you need to do that, or you need to wait for our next bit of news. I'm not going to tell you, but we'll be coming soon.
We'll give you a teaser.
Oh,
so let me put this into some context, and I get why anybody wants to rent something out. I understand. You know, if somebody is maybe going to use that property for 8, 10, 12 weeks of the year, it's a big justification for some people to say, well, it's going to be empty maybe up to 40 weeks of the year, so I'd actually like to rent it out to earn some income to cover the costs. We've been working for something on a long time at Welcome, which is just about to be launched, and definitely be in the next month. We might even have it to be able to unveil at Birmingham NEC, which we'll probably talk about the NEC in due course. But it's basically, without telling you what it is, it's basically for anybody who's looking to spend less than €100,000, being able to have access to ownership of brand new build properties. And I will say no more.
That sounds like it's going to be really interesting. We'll maybe do a podcast just on that. Definitely.
No, it is. It's something very new, not necessarily unique, but new and something that we're going to put together, because we have so many people who want their little piece of sunshine. So we're trying to, well, we're not trying to, we are going to put something together that'll give you your little piece of paradise if that you want it.
But you know, the difficult thing is, though, Aki, coming back to the shows, we started going back to the shows after COVID, which was the first one 2021 or 22?
20, no, because COVID was 2020, so it was 20, yeah.
Anyway, it was, however long ago it was, for somebody who had €100,000 then, people were buying properties. You try and find a property now, in the location you want, you know, because you're not going to want it in the middle of nowhere. I'll guarantee you that. You try finding that property now, they simply do not exist. The other thing as well is it's not likely to be in great condition. It's possibly going to have all of the EPC issues that we discussed earlier, and it could potentially turn into a money pit. So we've got a solution to spend actually far less than what you were going to, and actually have a much nicer property. But more on that next week, because I'm going to say something I regret.
Okay, great. And Chris is listening in backstage there as well to that, so that sounds good for both of us. So, I'll tell you what then, because there's about 10 minutes left here, so let me we just mentioned Birmingham, the Place in the Sun exhibition. So let's talk about it. There's actually 2 exhibitions coming up where people can come and meet the Welcome Estates team, because I know you guys find it hard to actually walk down the streets now without being recognised. So people can come and meet you at these great exhibitions. So the next one is Birmingham between September the 19th and the 23rd, and then there's one in Dublin, October the 11th to the 12th. Just tell us about the Birmingham one first.
Birmingham's at the NEC. It's probably one of the biggest shows of the year. This year we've done 5 shows, I think, 5 shows. 3 main ones being Manchester, London and Birmingham. The smaller ones being Dublin. I love Dublin. It's only a 2-day show in Dublin. But Birmingham, I think it's because of the location, and people come from miles and miles to meet us and talk to us there. What I think our sale yesterday, what was a Place in the Sun from 3 years ago. So that's what these places are about. It's not a case of to be honest, if you come to a show and you've got plane tickets booked for next week to come and buy, we're like, oh no.
You're probably wasting time, to be honest.
Oh no, because
you
haven't, well, I wanted to say haven't met us yet, which is another topic, and I can't really say that, but the planning and the preparation and what we would do from show to viewing to purchasing, to that process cannot happen and have not happened if you're out in a week's time, and we can help you and we'll do our best to help you for sure. But these are the sort of arenas where actually come and see, can you do it? Is it for you? Meet the right people, create the right team around you, from agents to currency to mortgages to the correct solicitors to visas to transporting your goods from your pets to your belongings. It's everything is
financial advisors.
It's everything is under one roof, completely.
And you get to see Colin on stage.
Yeah.
And we have a brand new attraction this year as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which will be, is this the one you were telling us about, which is going to be unveiled next week?
No, that's different. No, we have something new on our stand in Birmingham
to entertain our visitors.
Yeah.
I've heard about this. Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah.
I'm trying. We've done 6 shows this year because we went. This is where we went to the golf show.
Yes.
So we went to the golf show in, God, it's been such a blur the last couple of months. I believe that was June, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was just before I went back to the UK. We went to
you went to Leeds Bradford, didn't you? Leeds Bradford Airport.
Colin, I and Chris went up there for a 2-day show. It was great. We meet some great people, and we played finger golf all weekend. I got a hole in one. Didn't I? I was on the board.
I didn't.
I was on the board. So we're bringing a little bit of that to Birmingham this year.
I know, I've heard all about it, and it looks fun. And actually, this I believe, actually, I've got to give Gary some credit here, because this was an idea he's been trying to push through for a long time. You know, he's
talked about having a what would it be, like a putting green, yeah. But we thought this was a bit of fun, so we're gonna have a little bit
like
of that.
Sabutio. Do you remember Sabutio back in the day?
Really, yeah. Similar, but you get the ball in the air. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's good. It's good fun. That's coming to Birmingham, not to Dublin. Dublin's a smaller arena, so that one can't come. But it's coming to Birmingham with us.
The Birmingham NEC is massive as well. Yeah. So you know, I've used to. I know Chris used to work there actually, and I've done a few bits and bobs there. It's absolutely huge. So I'm sure there's going to be lots on offer, something for everybody, and more importantly, they can actually meet you. And part of the buying process, guys, is, I know you've joked about it just there, but meeting you guys, the service from Welcome Estates from start to finish, and the fact that you've got it all in house is a big feature of your business, really. What Welcome Estates does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fantastic. And all will there be information on the website about these events as well? If people want to
anybody, we can get free tickets for our customers as well. So anybody who does want to come to Birmingham, drop us a line if you're watching this, and we can send you some tickets. Come and say hello. It's always great to meet somebody in person and to be able to start that journey forward with somebody when you've actually met them and spoke to them. And then when you come, I always think it's always nice. And when you come over to Spain and walk into our office, you've already met us all. It suddenly just takes away lots of barriers and lots of fear and worry about what's happening next.
Yeah, and if you want to see some actual footage and what these events are like, go onto the Welcome Estates YouTube channel. Have a look. There's loads of footage on there. And also, there's loads of other stuff on there. There's our series at home with the crab trees, which will be starting again towards the end of this month. You know, there's stuff on it, but there's information from industry professionals. There's house tours we've done. There's loads of content on that YouTube channel, which I think people would find interesting. So go and click on it. Follow our YouTube, follow our Instagram. We've even got TikTok going on. It's all going on, really. Welcome Estates is kind of moving into...
Again, the comments on the YouTube channel from clients to people who are not quite ready and just viewing, it's incredible, really, how much it's helped people over the past year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin, I think we want a final note from you, please, about the viewing trip process. So if people are interested and they want a viewing trip, because we've got book a viewing trip at the top there on our screen, what do they have to do?
simply get in touch with us and we'll have a chat with you and find out exactly what you're looking for. It is a viewing trip with a bit of a difference, actually, because we have our own apartment. So it's not, we don't just put you up in a random hotel. We actually put you up in your own apartment so you can make yourself at home with its lovely communal swimming pool and everything. So there's a video on YouTube about that. Very simply, all we do, we have a chat, we build the property brief, we understand what areas you want to be in, and we book you in for 3 or 4 days. All of your property searches are pre-lined up, all of your viewings are pre-lined up, whether that's new build or resale. We'll also put you in front of lawyers, currency people, any other advice you need while you're out here, so you can do absolutely everything in the 3 or 4 days you're here and get on the plane and walk away with the dream of your homes, or the home of your dreams.
Or the dream of your homes, if you've had a few drinks at the corner flag.
I would like, I'd like to add, because obviously Colin deals with his clients and the way that he does it, but I oversee all the inspection trips and the clients and get the feedback, etc. And the one thing I'd say to people is help us help you. And that's all about communication. We've had clients over in the past couple of weeks, both who had done a trip with another company beforehand, and it didn't go great because they've turned up in Spain and I see it from both sides. I see it from a client's point of view, but I also see it from the agent's point of view as well. They were not shown anything that was their brief. 2 reasons why that can happen. 1, you've not helped that agent help you and not give enough time, or the agent has just completely gone off piece and just shown you what they want. And that can happen as well. That really can happen. And we want to help you. We want that trip to be successful for you. But we can only do that if we have done the prep work beforehand, and we can only do the prep work if you help us.
Yeah. The feedback we get all the time, Aki, when somebody's had an unsuccessful trip with maybe somebody else's, is that they didn't feel like they were listened to at all.
Which can be frustrating, yeah.
It's massively frustrating, and seriously, once you chat to us, you will realise and you'll think, God, they're asking a lot of questions. Yeah, we do ask a lot of questions because it's the only way we can actually get inside your head and really understand what you want. If somebody isn't asking you questions, they're not interested in what you want.
They're just interested in telling you.
In their own agenda.
Yeah. Where we always say we want to find you the right house in the right place for the lifestyle that you want to live in Spain.
But we need your input to be able to do that, because we're not mind readers.
Just like that property before, Carl would buy it, Colin's midway, it ain't for me. We're all very different, aren't we? All midway.
Well, it's been another great chat, another great podcast. We've covered a lot there. We've covered the property of the week, which I think, just objectively speaking, was just fantastic property. Some viewers' questions, some myth busting, the new rental laws, which is really crucial, exhibition dates, and we're still here smiling. And it's all there. And guys, anything retrospectively, go back onto the channel and have a look. I must reiterate, there's so much information on this channel.
And keep sending your questions in, and topics that you want us to talk about, please send them in, because obviously we want to answer your questions.
Brilliant. Well, Colin, Lisa, thank you very much. And we'll see you on the next Welcome to the Sun, Welcome Estates Property Podcast.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.